Good morning. I'm Fred Bruce. This is Stan Loewen. This safety and information tidbit is brought to you by Certified Horsemanship Association. We are both certified trail guides and instructors in packing, and we're here on location at West Texas A&M University. And we're going to show you how to put up a Highline picket in case you would ever like to use that if you're out in an area where you need to contain your horses and you don't have a good place to do that. First of all, we want to think about the environment. What kind of an area do we want? We're going to tie our Highline to trees. So we want good, strong trees that are not dead, not a lot of junk on the ground in the way, in an area that we're not going to impact the environment. You'll notice there's no grass here, just dirt, so we're not going to adversely affect the environment. We want to use a tree saver on the trees because we do not want to damage the trees so that we can preserve our environment. Our Highline picket, we use what we call a 777 rule. We put our tree saver about 7 foot tall. Most people can reach 7 foot. We want the horses a minimum of 7 foot away from the first tree. And then when we put horses on the picket, we want them a minimum of 7 foot apart. So we're going to go through showing you how to put that up so that you can use that. If you're in an area where there's one tree, not another, then you have your horse trailer, you can park it and attach one end to it. Or if you're camping in an area with no trees and two of you there with horse trailers, you can actually run it from horse trailer to horse trailer. So it can be a very useful thing. This tree saver is nylon webbing with a nice metal ring in the end. So the nylon webbing goes around the tree and then you can tie into your metal ring. We normally tie to it with a bowline knot so that it is easy to untie when we're finished. So we're not damaging this tree at all and we're keeping the horses away from it. So we're going to lay out our rope first from tree to tree, make sure we got it set out how we want it, get our spacing, and then we're going to put our loops in it because you cannot tie your loops once it's tight and you don't know where you want your loops until you lay it out. So we're going to pick this tree over here and string our rope out. We actually have quite a bit of excess rope here, but that's good. I'd rather have it too long than too short. This Highline rope we're using is about 3/8 inch diameter. You want a minimum stretch rope that's quite strong but lightweight and easy to use. So we've laid it out, we've got it all set here. We're going to show you how to use some commercial products that you can use and also how to use a butterfly knot. I like to use a butterfly personally because you have less things to buy, less things to carry, but these are also convenient. These are called knot eliminators. This particular one does not have a swivel. This one has a swivel because when you put your horses on these lines, they're probably going to do some walking and moving. So if you do not have a swivel, you need to make sure you have a lead rope that has a swivel because the horse will walk around and twist your lead rope all up. Okay, to keep our 777 rule going, I'm going to step out about 7 foot here, so most adults can step about 3 foot, so about 3, 6, and a short step would be 7. Or some people feel like their foot is a foot long and so they like to step it this way, but I do it the other way because it's quicker. We're going to show you how to use a knot eliminator. They're actually very simple. All you have to do is pull the Highline through and put it around and it locks itself in place and you have a nice loop. The advantage of a knot eliminator is if your rope's a little short to reach the trees, this takes very little rope, where the butterfly knot uses some rope. So, just some options. I'm going to take that off. This one is the swivel one. Basically the same thing. You pull it through the loop here. You put it around here. It's locked in place. You tie your horse, and if it wants to move, this swivels so it can walk around and not tangle up with their lead rope. To put a butterfly knot in this so we have a nice loop to tie to, I'm going to turn my palm up, my thumb out, I'm going to lay the rope right across it. I'm going to lay it across to the second time. I'm going to lay across to the third time. Grab that outside rope, put it over into the middle, and then take the new outside, pull it a little slack from my loop, pull it over, under, pull it through. I've got a nice loop there that's going to hold. Then I'm going to go about another 7 foot. And I'm going to do the same thing. Now, to be able to tighten it, we want to be able to use a pulley system to get this tight. It's important that it stays tight. So we're going to make sure we're far enough away from that tree that when it's tight, we're still going to have everything out away from that tree, and we've got plenty of rope. So I'm going to come out here quite a ways so we've got room to tighten it. I'm going to lay that over my palm again, a second time, a third time. I'm going to grab that outside, put it over. It's now the middle. Take the new outside, pull it up, and pull it through here. One thing that I do not want to do when I use this pulley system, if I run my rope through here, I slide that rope through, I burn my rope, and I've effectively ruined my rope. So you can use a rope snap or a carabiner or some metal surface, clip it on here, and now you have a smoother pulley. It's also convenient because you can snap it on here and you don't have to run the whole rope through here. Okay, we've got our carabiner here, so we won't burn our rope and ruin it because we want to be able to use it multiple times. Equipment's expensive, so we try to take good care of it. So we get it out here so we can really get it tight, because it will stretch some, but you want a minimum stretch rope and you want it nice and tight. So we're going to pull this up tight. Okay, I'm going to hold some tension on here. I'm going to come up and grip it together so it don't slip loose. I'm going to make a half hitch, and I'm going to go over both of those ropes because it helps to lock them together. Got my half hitch. I'm going to do a second half hitch just to secure it. Make sure it stays in place. I'm going to coil up this excess rope and get it out of the way. We want a nice clean camp area. We don't want the horses to tangle up in it, or if we come out in the middle of the night to check our horses, we don't want to tangle up in it. So I'm going to just lay it right over that rope, pull its tail back through itself. We're going to slide it down here next to the tree so it's out of the way and everything's nice and clean. Okay, you might wonder, if you're not a very tall person and you've got this 7 foot, you say, I can't reach it, how am I going to tie my horse? It's really easy to solve. You just toss your lead rope over it, pull it down to where you can get to it to tie it, and then you can tie your horse. Another thing you might want to consider, if you've got some young horses and you're a little bit worried about if they get excited, scared, scare all the horses on the line and stir them up, you might want to have an emergency breakaway. Actually, hay string makes a very nice emergency breakaway if you're worried about that. So it depends on if you want to make sure your horse is secure or if you want that emergency breakaway. So for an emergency breakaway, you can just take some hay string, put it on there, probably a little smaller than that, and tie your lead rope to that. If the horse gets really afraid, pulls really hard, this hay string will break. You won't tear your whole line down and get all your horses loose. So there's a lot of different options that you can go with. We've got these nice registered American quarter horses that's part of the WT program. We're going to put them on this picket line and let them get comfortable with it. So once again, if it's a little too tall, just toss your lead rope over it, pull it down where you can reach it, and go ahead and put the horse on. Make sure they're not too long. You don't want them to get in trouble. The longest length is barely touch about a foot or so from the ground, so you can kind of unclip, check that, put that back on. That way you can put a nose bag on and feed them. They can touch the ground. You can put a flake of hay there. But I always like to shorten them before I go to sleep. Pull them up about like that. They can still walk circles. They can still be comfortable. They can still lay down, because if they lay down, the line will give a little bit. So they can be very rested by morning time. very comfortable. So it's a nice place to keep them. They can walk circles, they can be comfortable. Again, you can tie several ways. You can do a quick release, you can do a bowline, you can just loop it around itself like that. It's very easy to tie, very quick to get loose if you need to. Then we have a second registered American quarter horse, part of the WT program. We're going to put it down here. Thank you. We want to make sure that the horses get along reasonably well together. If they don't, you either need a bigger space or put two horses that do get along well together. Again, we'll kind of double check our length. We can give him a little bit more. We hope you enjoyed this educational and safety tidbit brought to you by the Certified Horsemanship Association, and hope you'll go out and try this. It's a good way to enjoy your horses, enjoy nature out in areas where there's not a lot of facilities provided. Thank you.